Good morning, Deborah. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning virtually to participate in the conference. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'd like to tell a story today. I'd like to share with you about a perfusion education program that we've established in East Africa. I have no conflicts of interest related to this presentation. I am proud to say that I'm a 1981 graduate of this program, the THI School of Perfusion. My time in Houston was a life-changing experience. It was the beginning of my career, and I learned so much there. So much was given to me, and I developed a passion for this work while in Houston. As you can see, there have been some changes over the years. I had hair back then, but I lost my hair over the years, but my passion for the work that we do is still very strong. Here's another photo from 1981. That's me on the left and two of my classmates, Mike Orff and Linda Sprinkle. Here's another photo. It's an old photo. Does anyone know who this might be? No, it's not Tom Landry. It looks like him, and he's wearing a fedora, but it's not Mike Landry or Tom Landry. This is actually Willie Sutton, and Willie Sutton, I don't know, maybe he was a relative of Steve Sutton, member of the 1982 class from THI. But Willie Sutton, in the 1920s, he was a rather famous man. He was a bank robber, and quite a successful one at that. And one time he was asked, "Why do you rob banks?" And he said, "It's because that's where the money is." So often I'm asked, "Why do you work in Africa? Why did you move to Africa?" Well, the fact of the matter is there's a lot of heart disease here. There's an incredible amount of heart disease here and a lot of suffering. And I'm privileged with I'm privileged to live here and to work here, and I'm privileged to live here and work here, caring for cardiac patients and teaching others some of the things I learned in Houston many years ago. You see, he does look a little like Tom Landry, you have to admit. Same hat, same serious look on his face, and both were highly successful at what they do. There's a lot of people in the world, according to Dominique Vervoot, a health services researcher from Toronto, who's interested in global cardiac surgery, and he's interested in ethics and biostats as well. And he just happens to also be an aspiring heart surgeon. But according to him, 6 billion people in low and middle income countries lack access to safe, affordable cardiac surgical care. So this is 3/4 of the people on this planet who do not have access to cardiac care. This is from an expose that was published in the New York Times in 2018. And the name of the article was "Where a Sore Throat Becomes a Death Sentence." And this article was focused on what's going on in Rwanda. There's a lot of rheumatic heart disease there. And when we talk about the underserved, low and middle income areas of the world, this is the disease that's affecting much of their population. The World Health Rankings map, this is a color-coded map to show the death rate from rheumatic heart diseases across the world. The green and red areas are the high areas of rheumatic heart disease deaths in the world. And as you can see, sub-Saharan Africa has the highest death rate in the world from rheumatic heart disease. That's why I'm here. When we look at the distribution of heart surgeons across the world, we see that North America and Europe and down in Australia, they have the highest number of surgeons per million population. There are approximately 10 surgeons per million in those developed parts of the world. But in places like sub-Saharan Africa, there's more than a 100-fold difference in the number of heart surgeons and very limited heart programs in these regions. Actually, sub-Saharan Africa has 22 heart programs for that whole country, and that's about 1.3 billion people. So many patients, many young patients suffer and die because they don't have access to care in this region. In the center where I practice in Kenya, we have more than 800 patients on our waiting list for open heart surgery. We can do about 200 to 250 cases a year. So as you can imagine, every week, patients die that are on our waiting list. In 2018, the International Coalition of Leaders in Cardiac Surgery wrote a white paper that was co-published in 7 scientific journals calling for surgeons, educators, healthcare professionals, and industry to address this problem of access. The publication specifically identifies training of perfusionists and trainings of cardiac surgeons and caregivers as of fundamental importance to meet this problem and to correct this problem. Here's another publication from 1992, authored by Professor Odhiambo. Professor Odhiambo is a heart surgeon from Kenya. And he, at that time, when in his review of the first 10 years of heart surgery in Kenya, cited the shortage of technical staff, myocardial protection problems, and perfusion malfunctions among the leading contributors to mortality. And it's sad to say that many of these problems still exist in Kenya. They haven't been solved as yet. Kenya's on the east coast of the African continent. Tenwek Hospital, where I work and live, is a Christian mission hospital located on the western side of the Great Rift Valley. It's just a few miles south of the equator. The elevation there is about 6,300 feet above sea level, so it's quite a breathtaking place. The climate is lovely with temperatures all year round between 70 and 74 degrees during the day. And at night, the thermometer drops to about 58 to 65 degrees. So it's quite a pleasant climate year round. We started the perfusion training program here at Kenwick, and I like to attribute the beginning of that program to this man right here in the middle of the photo. These are anesthesia nurses and anesthesia clinical officers from the hospital where I work, Tenwek Hospital. And this is Philip Kowesh. And one day in early 2020, Philip came to me and he said, "You need to train us to become perfusionists." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Teach us, give us lectures. Teach us to be perfusionists." I said, "Okay, how about if we start in a month or so? I'll pull together a curriculum and we can begin to learn about perfusion." And he said, "No, how about if we start on Friday?" So I said, okay, and that was the beginning of our certificate program in cardiovascular perfusion at Tenwek Hospital. The program was a one-year intramural program. The students received about 150 hours of lecture on perfusion techniques and physiology and many things related to our work. In addition to that, each student completed about 80 cases with clinical instruction, very much like the cases that students do in the US. We measure about 30 domains of performance during the case and evaluate them on these cases. There was a midterm and a final exam and an oral exam, and students that completed all of these things successfully received a certificate from Tenwek Hospital in cardiovascular perfusion. The program grew and developed over the years. We worked hard to improve our didactic part of our program and to deliver more and better educational content. We began to establish a more robust faculty, bringing experts in the field from abroad through Zoom. The students still do the 80 cases of clinical cases, and we were able to add high fidelity simulation to the mix. This was a real breakthrough for us because you see there are limited cases in Kenya. So when you have high fidelity simulation, you can do many cases in a short period of time and really teach and reinforce skills and really take students to the limit in many different scenarios. Our invited faculty that we've developed are experts from all over the world. Many of the people you know here shown on this slide have come and lectured on specific topics. So our students hear from some of the finest minds in the field. You see there's a spot here for your photo. So if you have an interest in participating, please contact me. I'll leave my address at the end of this presentation. The curriculum we developed was we took the published standards and guidelines from the ACPE booklet of standards and guidelines for perfusion education. We took that 12-unit curriculum and we added a unit on spiritual formation. So our students get a very complete didactic course with many of the topics that students receive education on in the US. As I mentioned, the simulation is a really strong part of our program. We use the biomedical simulations Califia simulator, and we're able to construct very complex cases and teach these students. They spend a lot of time in the simulation lab dealing with very challenging problems and perfecting their skills. Here you see Dafroz Mugabariki. She's from Rwanda. She just completed our course in March. And here is Mercy Beer. Mercy Beer is a Kenyan, local Kenyan that now works at our center. Another way we use this simulator is to teach cardiothoracic surgical fellows at our center. We have a cardiothoracic surgical fellowship program. Shown here is Lugano. Lugano is a fellow from Malawi, and he has been in our program 4 months now. And Lugano spent a week with me, and I'll not forget the day that we were in the sim lab and I took this photo, and we were just talking about how a nurse anesthetist from his program in Malawi had applied to the school and is applied to join the school in 2025. And what this means is that when he finishes his fellowship in 2 years, in 3 years, he will have a perfusionist that's trained in the same techniques and with the same equipment that we use here at Tenwick Hospital. 6 students have finished the program and received certificates to date, 1 from Rwanda and 5 from Kenya. We're very proud of them. They're all gainfully employed in Kenya and in Rwanda. Just incredible professionals. Very proud of the scholarship of the students that have been part of this school. To date, they've published 2 posters at international meetings. We had a publication in 2020 in Journal of Extracorporeal Technology 2021 on a perfusion practice survey that in Kenya that we conducted here. In July, I'm very excited to say that we have submitted 2 abstracts for presentation at the Kenyan Kenyan Cardiac Surgery Conference. It's in Mombasa, so 2 of our staff will be going there to present at that conference. We plan to train 24 perfusionists between now and in June of 2030. We're very excited. The plan is to train 14 Kenyans and 10 from other countries. We have applicants from Zimbabwe, from Malawi. We've had applicants from Nigeria. We've had applicants from Tanzania. So we're looking forward to having an impact across this whole continent on perfusion by educating perfusionists and hopefully improving access to care for patients. In March of this year, on March 4th, we received accreditation from the Ministry of Health Clinical Officers Council in Kenya, and they've granted us a 1-year provisional accreditation. And what this means for our students is that they, upon graduation, they receive a certificate, a higher diploma in cardiovascular perfusion. So we're continuing to seek accreditation from other agencies as well, but this was a big milestone for us just this March. Tenwek Hospital is about to complete a new cardiothoracic center on our campus. And this building has been 3.5 years in construction. It's a 178-bed, fully cardiac hospital with 5 CT ORs, 1 hybrid OR room, a cath lab, with a capacity, once it's fully activated, to do about 2,000 open heart procedures a year. So this will increase our capability about tenfold in the number of cases we could do a year. And this will be one of the largest centers in sub-Saharan Africa to provide cardiac surgery. So in summary, a model of perfusion education that leverages a proven existing curriculum, uses high fidelity simulation, and robust clinical instruction can be used to attenuate this gap in perfusion education that is contributing to poor access to people in low and middle income countries. There's a huge role for professionals and for education facilities in developed countries to fill this gap. I've just mentioned this invited commentary from Bruce Searles and myself that was recently published, the head of print, in the journal Perfusion. And there's a great opportunity for us to help people in these other countries have better access to care. I'm grateful for the opportunity to contribute to this conference. It's very special to me in that a day doesn't go by that I don't think about how blessed I am to have the opportunity to pass on things that I first learned in Houston, Texas at Texas Heart Institute. Please contact me if you have questions about this work, or if you have a desire to be part of contributing to improving healthcare for people from developing countries. I thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.